video or audio tape, disc, or film problems. Here's where my approach to audio, video, and film conversions really pays off. When it comes to preserving your media, using my 43 years of professional experience, I literally look and listen to all of your recordings. I make sure all you receive back is clean, stable video with well-balanced audio. All white noise and blank cut out. Unlike other fly-by-nights who might be content to shove a tape in a tape player, walk away and hope for the best, I make sure your converted recordings are optimized and well preserved, and I do this all in-house. This further pays off because I will always spot any problems that old media can present. Much of the time, old films, video, and audio tapes, as well as discs, are fine. When well stored and properly handled, they may age well. But often enough, there are challenges playing old media due to a variety of factors. This usually becomes evident after years of ignoring them, and then it's time to convert to something you can view today. Whether it be due to wear and tear of playing media over the years, environmental damage, old players malfunctioning and hurting your recordings, etc., there are some common issues we will look at here. Tape troubles. Here's a common tape problem for tapes stored in damp environments: mold. Humid regions, water exposure, or damp basements can be the cause. Most of the time, the good news is that the mold stays on the outside edges and hopefully does not affect the audio or video, control tracks, or just the general magnetic information stored either on audio or video tapes. The fix is not to wipe them. I use a dry method of opening the shells, loosening the mold, and carefully vacuuming away the damaged mold. Most of the time, good results can be achieved. Breakage is a pretty straightforward cause for concern. Old tapes can break off their hubs due to splices giving way because of age or rough handling by an old player. Sometimes old players will eat tapes because of mechanical failure. With proper splicing techniques, tapes can be made playable. Heavily damaged areas might be lost, but if caught quickly at the time of malfunction, it's hopefully just a few seconds worth. The shells of cassettes can suffer accidental crush damage from dropping the tapes or dropping something on them. In that case, rehousing the tapes is required. I make sure the right replacement shells are used and that the internal tape path is correct. The stickies is a name I give to audio and video tapes whose back coating has absorbed moisture, and because of the makeup of the back coating, they become adhesive. This condition makes itself known when the tape starts to not run at the correct speed or starts to squeal or even stop altogether, not being able to glide across the player's mechanisms. The friction can cause the oxides to come away from the tapes, ruining the recording. Not only is this bad for the tapes themselves, it can ruin a good tape player. Ironically, it was some of the more expensive brands in the past that seem to have this problem more often. The best fix is to perform a controlled baking of the tape to remove the moisture. This is a tricky, long, temperature-specific, literal baking of the tape. It works most of the time depending how far gone the tapes are by the time the baking is performed. Self-erasure is a fact of life and death of any audio or video tape. The backcoating that causes the stickies problem we just discussed is the one thing protecting your recordings from self-erasure. The problem is you've got a tape filled end to end with magnetic material rolled up layer upon layer. All those magnetic layers acting upon each other. The backcoating is there to try to prevent erasure, but after decades and decades, you may notice the fidelity of audio fades and the video begins to ghost, as I call it, with images becoming less and less sharp. The only thing to do is convert these recordings as soon as possible. There's no getting it back. Creases, folds, or rough edges from bad players is another damage that cannot be fully fixed. Sometimes tapes can be flattened to some extent, but these tapes will not perform well. My only advice here is if ever you are playing a tape at the first signs of any strange sounds in the player or audible or visual degradation is noticed, stop the playback immediately. Films. Particular to old 8mm, Super 8mm, or 16mm films, they deal with some similar issues to tapes. Again, mold can eat into the films, but like tapes, you hope mold is only on the edges. And again, cleaning these films must be done carefully. If you try to wipe off the mold, you can literally wipe off the images. Like tapes, I use a dry method to clean and give the best playback. Other film issues include breaks in the film, usually from old splices giving way. You could also come across tears and worn gates. A big villain to watch out for is the homemade Scotch tape splice. Films, fortunately, can be trimmed up and respliced. Because the films need to mechanically move through a telecine projector or film scanner, you might lose a few frames making them playable again, but mostly it's just a tiny fraction of time. Discs. We've all had a CD or DVD that simply doesn't play properly. Freezing or skipping or stuttering, CDs, DVDs, and Blu-ray discs are mostly susceptible to scratching damage. The first step is to make sure the data surface isn't just dirty. Carefully cleaning can often bring back playability. But if scratches are the issue, a lacquer layer removal can be a solution. There are usually 3 layers of lacquer on a CD or DVD. If this is the fix needed, I start by removing 1 layer, seeing if it works. But if not, I take off a second layer. I don't go beyond that because now you're down to the data layer. Sometimes data can be extracted off the problem disc, allowing reconstruction of some of the media. Vinyl records and bakelite discs. Everyone expects 33, 45, or 78 RPM vinyl records to crackle and pop to some extent. The warm sound that many prefer, but there are limits. The first step is a good cleaning of the disc and making sure that they are played on a decent turntable. The best solution to reducing the ticks and pops is using restoration software, or hoping the recording was digitally republished. Warped discs are another problem. Riding the hills and valleys of a warped disc is not the best, but there are some flattening procedures that can be tried. The moral of the story is, take action now. Get your old media converted and backed up as soon as you can, saving them the further ravages of time. I hope this presentation gave you a window into the video and audio issues you may have already noticed with your own home film, video, or audio recordings. Again, most of the time recordings can stand up rather well, but don't let that stop you from taking steps to preserve your media and make them more accessible. And don't shortchange yourself with the quality of how you get it done. Feel free to reach out to me to discuss your particular situation. Thanks for watching.